A very warm welcome to yet another Kumekucha video. Information and analysis that is very difficult to find anywhere else. I recommend that you subscribe and you hit the bell button so that you receive notifications every time I have a new video. Karibu sana and enjoy. There is a Swahili expression that goes like this: swala nyeti. Now, in any language, a word can have several meanings, more than one meaning. And those who translate have translated it to mean a sensitive issue. However, having lived amongst people who speak Swahili for a very long time, including spiritual people who speak Swahili, the meaning of that word is much more than just a sensitive issue. It is also a very weighty issue, very important, very significant. Now, I don't have any qualifications, and I'm not an authority to be able to translate Swahili into English. All I'm doing is referring back to my experience with Swahili speakers when they use this word. I believe because sehemu nyeti means private parts, people have tended to get stuck there. Anyway, my point is, this video is about maswala nyeti, tena sana. Grave matters, very important, significant matters. Something that concerns each and every one of us. Now, the door to something is very important. The doorway to something is extremely important. People pay a lot of attention to their doors, the doors to their house. The gate to your compound, that's a doorway. Now, bearing that in mind, the doorway to the year 2019, the doorway tells you exactly what to expect as you enter the compound, as you enter the house. Quite often, doors will even have things written on them, indicating exactly what to expect in that room. I have no doubt on my mind whatsoever that the first 15 days of the year 2019 are a sign that clearly tells us, that clearly shows us so that we can see that the year 2019, Swahili speakers will have to forgive me, because I don't think this is correct Swahili. But this is a phrase I'm going to use to describe the year 2019. Mwaka nyeti. Now, you don't need to be a witch doctor or a rainmaker or something like that to predict that it's about to rain, even when the sun is shining, even when there's not a single cloud in the skies. And this is something I learned from my late political lecturer. You see, he used to plant maize and he used to rely on rain for his maize to do well. This was during his retirement, of course. And sometimes the rains would fail to come and his crop, which he had worked so hard on, would be threatened. And he would read every single weather forecast he could find, right up to CNN weather. And he would look out for certain signs, even in the very hot sun, in the dust. He would look out for certain signs that rain is coming. One of them, of course, most of you know, humidity. When it becomes so humid, a lot like what you experience when you're in Mombasa, uncomfortable heat, it will almost certainly rain, even if there isn't a single cloud in the sky. In the same way, you don't need to be an expert, a prophet, to predict that the year 2019 is going to be exceptional. Politically, David Murathe left the Jubilee Party, resigned as deputy party leader. Moses Kuria insulted a very important constituent from his constituency, who also happens to be the President of the Republic of Kenya. The President got angry, and his angry comments were turned into a movement, a new movement called the Washenzi. Professor Kivutha Kibwana challenged his party leader, Kalonzo Musyoka. Aden Duale reappeared after vanishing for quite some time, singing a very different song, a new song Kenyans had never heard before. Then a terrorist attack rocked Nairobi. All that drama and a lot more that I've not mentioned happened only in the first 15 days of the year 2019. It is like you start a journey from Mombasa, with your destination being Nairobi, and in the first couple of kilometers, before you even reach Mariakani, you have a very close shave. You pass within inches of a very heavy truck, coming down the hill at a very high speed, out of control. You get 2 punctures, not 1, 2. And just before Mariakani, smoke starts coming out of your bonnet, and you discover you have an overheating radiator. Gosh, will you really reach Nairobi? That describes the year 2019 thus far very accurately. And it is very clear, it should be very clear to all of us, that these are clear signs that for the year 2019, make sure you've fastened your seatbelt. Number 2, brace yourself. And I will not even go into the prophecies on the year 2019 by various servants of God I respect and who have a track record. They've been able to predict in the past, and what they have predicted has come to pass. And I will even keep out of this video our prophecy, or rather the prophecy we have clung to on this channel. Overturn, overturn, overturn. Which had almost become a joke on this channel until things started happening. People had started asking, Chris, what's happening with the overturn prophecy? And by the way, it's not even my prophecy. It is a prophecy from servants of God. That I believe is what Kenya, the country called Kenya, is passing through right now. A major shaking that will not end until the guy upstairs, if you want to put it like that, has finished his work. Now, most of the time, we don't agree. We don't see things the same way as my colleague here, Hezron. He reminds me of my political lecturer. Somebody who knows a lot, has seen a lot, is experienced, understands politics, but has been overtaken by the times. However, when it comes to science, I sit up and listen, because he has never been wrong. He saw a small clip of Deputy President William Samoei Ruto almost tripping. As he came down the stairs, he stumbled a bit, almost tripped and fell. But he regained his balance. And he said to me, hiyo Chris, weka. Hiyo ni sign. Unakumbuka ule jamaa wenye alikuwa anaitwa Paul Ngei? Unakumbuka alisema nini? He was of course referring to a time in Kenya when we had a cabinet minister called Paul Ngei. Very controversial, a woman's man, etc., etc. Things had gone very bad for Paul Ngei because not only had he lost his parliamentary seat in an election petition, but the court determined that the election offenses he had been found guilty of were so serious, that he had to be banned, not to contest in the by-election. Indeed, banned forever from politics. And as Gay came out of the courtroom, looking quite dazed, quite stunned, wouldn't you be? And his enemies celebrating because they knew that was the end of Paul Ngei. Reporters stopped him and they asked him, Bwana Waziri, what do you have to say about this court ruling? And everybody held their breath. And Paul Ngei said in Kiswahili, kuteleza sio kuanguka. Translation, stumbling or slipping is not falling. You have not yet fallen. And people laughed. But a few months later, after a very hurried constitutional amendment sailed through parliament that allowed the president to pardon any offense in the Republic of Kenya, criminal or otherwise, Gay was back in parliament. Yeah, he had won the by-election. So the deputy president stumbled, yeah, but he didn't fall. According to Hezron, that is a sign. Okay, so let's just wait and see. But if he's wrong, this will be the first time he's wrong. In my view, we have reached a point, yeah, in this world, in the globe, not only in Kenya, where reading signs will be so important that it can save your life. And I kid you not. Reading signs, yeah, looking beyond what you can see, looking deeper, a lot deeper into the mysteries of this life. Let me refer you to a very strange, yeah, passage in the Bible, extremely strange. It was the great prophet Elisha's final prophecy. After this prophecy, the great prophet died. Now, as he was making this prophecy, he was sick, and we are told he had the sickness that would kill him, that would end up taking his life. And a king came to him very worried, panicked. Yeah. Why? Because he could sense defeat. You know, in those days, the stakes were very high, because if you lost a battle, you are done. Yeah, those who won the battle would take over your women, children, etc. And the prophecy he received from the prophet Elisha, I don't think was something the king was expecting. At least, he was not expecting it to be delivered in this way, this strange way. And I'm reading from 2 Kings chapter 13 from verse 15. Elisha told him, "Take a bow and some arrows." So he himself took a bow and some arrows. Then Elisha said to the king of Israel, "Put your hand on the bow." So the king put his hand on the bow, and Elisha put his hands on the king's hands. "Open the east window," said Elisha. So he opened it, and Elisha said, "Shoot." So he shot. Then Elisha declared, "This is the Lord's arrow of victory, the arrow of victory over Aram, and you shall strike the Arameans in Aphek until you have put an end to them." Then Elisha said, "Take the arrows." So he took them, and Elisha said to the king of Israel, "Strike the ground." So he struck the ground 3 times and stopped. But the man of God was angry with him and said, "You should have struck the ground 5 or 6 times. Then you would have struck down Aram until you had put an end to it. But now you'll strike down Aram only 3 times. And Elisha died and was buried. Just 2 arrows changed the destiny of a nation. 2 arrows. 2 arrows which were supposed to be aimed to strike the ground. 2 arrows, although 3 would have been better. Yeah, signs are very serious things, extremely serious. And the times we live in are so serious that with all your strings of degrees, you need to be able to see signs, to read signs, and understand what they mean. We live in times which are so dangerous that although all knowledge of the world is at the fingertips of anybody with an internet connection, yeah, you still need to be able to read signs. Degrees and all the knowledge of the world since the beginning of time at your fingertips will not help you if you can't read signs. There was another clip which Hezron saw, yeah, I think about 2-3 weeks ago, which almost went viral but didn't. Now, that clip had about 3 or 4 Chinese men, and a Kenyan local approached those Chinese men, yeah, in a threatening way. And the Chinese men ganged up on this poor Kenyan, yeah, and beat him up, yeah, and threw him into a ditch. And they were very angry at him. And Hezron asked me, "Chris, hii kizungu yenyu mkisema dry run inamaanisha nini?" Now, don't be fooled. This man understands English, and he knew exactly what that phrase means, yeah. But I had to humor him and explain to him. He said he wanted to be sure. Yeah, I told him a dry run is like a rehearsal. It's not the real thing. Then he showed me that clip of 4 Chinese men subduing a Kenyan, and he told me, "Chris, he need dry run."
I cannot do that. Okay. I cannot Angalia sasa, angalia sasa. Naona sasa.
Tumemwambia tu. Tumemwambia.
Sisi tumemwambia.
Tumekuambia na usikii.
Tumemwambia huyu.
Tumekwambia na nini na usikii? Tunakwambia na usikii.
Sasa umetoka huko unakuja. Wewe unachokoza. Wewe unachokoza.
Ufazla.
Umetoka huko.
Hiyo ndo ufazla. 2 kilomita. 2 kilomita. Ah. 弟子们，这个是克了饼，有谁啊？啊？
Get me my sweat.
My apologies for laughing. It's not funny, and it's not going to be funny for Kenyans. But the way Hezron put it just made me laugh. And even now when I describe the incident, I find myself laughing. But I shouldn't be laughing. Now there's a possibility that the real thing, of this dry run will not happen in 2019. It may happen in 2020, but also it may happen in 2019. Who knows? But one thing you can be sure of, it'll happen. You know, when you go to experts like economists and so on and so forth, or even scientists, and they tell you something, they predict something to you, and then you go to men of God you trust, and you realize some of them 3 years ago, 2 years ago, said the same thing, then you can be sure, hapa iko kitu. And I dare add, the first 15 days of 2019 were a dry run. As the rest of the year 2019 unfolds, we will see the real thing unfold. Hiyo ilikuwa sign tu, that was the doorway. So 2 quick tips for surviving the year 2019. Number 1, your finances. If currently you have abundance, finances are flowing, save. Save as much as you can. Keep your costs low. Don't flaunt your wealth when others don't have money. Save for the coming rainy day that shall surely come. If you don't have much money, or you have limited finances, limited flow of finances, then start thinking of investing in businesses that will hardly be touched if there's political unrest. Start thinking of business ideas that will thrive during chaos. A few examples: export trade, export to other countries. Agriculture, you can grow foods. Even if those food prices are not good right now, you can be sure that somewhere down the road, they will shoot through the roof. If you have done psychology, brush up your psychology certificates. Keep them ready. Especially if you are able to do counseling. Counseling to victims of a traumatic situation. That one is coming into the market in a very big way. Not only in 2019, but going forward. Start thinking ahead, even in the way you live. For instance, if you threw away your solar system, immediately electricity arrived in your rural home. Go and look for it wherever you threw it. And if you can't find it, buy a brand new solar system. Make your country home as self-sufficient as possible. You can refer to some of my earlier videos on taking advantage of opportunities in chaos. In fact, I'll post a link to it at the tail end of this video, top left-hand corner. I'll put them all together and post them there for you. This one is a very important seatbelt going forward. Trust me, very important. Number 2, keep your eyes on leaders. Very important. Keep a very close eye on leaders and what they're doing, especially leaders of countries. Now I need to address a myth here, which has confused many of us. Many of us believe that a leader chosen by God is somebody after God's own heart, a leader like King David. Not true. God puts leaders in power for his purposes, for a certain objective, and he even uses heathen leaders to achieve what he wants. King Nebuchadnezzar in the Bible was put there by God. And you'll remember his story, Almighty God decided to teach him a lesson, because there's a point where King Nebuchadnezzar had reached. He had so much power. He believed, he started confusing himself for God. So what did God do? Nebuchadnezzar became an animal. He started feeding on grass. And surprise, surprise, there was no power struggle. There was no succession war like what is going on in Kenya. His throne was kept for him, so that after he had learned his lesson, God returned him to his throne. And God is not limited to free and fair elections to put the people he wants in power. Sometimes he can use the Russian hackers. Donald Trump has been put president of the United States by God Almighty himself. Now, nobody I know likes President Trump, but let's get rid of the emotions, for a bit, and focus on what he's doing and what he's trying to do. There was a prophecy before the 2017 elections in Kenya that made very many people in Kenya angry, including myself. Yes, I confess. But the prophecy said that God had chosen President Uhuru Kenyatta in order to get a few things done in the country called Kenya, which is part of his plan. And in the case of Kenya, God did not use Russian hackers. You know what he used? So, keep your eyes on our leader. Keep your eyes on world leaders. All this is part of bracing yourself for the year 2019. Mwaka nyeti sana. Nyeti tena sana. Until next time, this is Kshs, Kumekucha.